Welcome to Topline Hotline.
Topline, hotline, hotline. We're here without Sam Jacobs, so I have to do the singing. I'm so sorry. Here we are.
We
Yeah.
apologize.
Kevin, Asad. I don't have the pipes that Sam has, I don't think, but welcome. It's your favorite Thursday afternoon, morning. If you're Asad, 10 p.m., 11 p.m. is usually when he listens to these. And we've got a great one on deck. Asad, what is our question from the community?
Okay, so the question is really interesting. So the question is, I'm building a comp plan for my leader. I built a capacity plan to give out 9 million in quota to deliver 6.3 million. So I have about 30% over capacity. For my leader, should I build her comp plan off the 9 million her reps carry, or the 6.3 I'm hoping to get out of it? Same question for my compensation, off the 9 million or off the 6.3. And the connected point to this is that there's a lot of sometimes tension in go-to-market teams because of this. Reps and sometimes even managers feel very frustrated that we don't feel like we won and we didn't achieve our total incomes, but these execs and the board seem to be celebrating what's going on. So Kevin, let's start with you. What are your thoughts on this? The tactical point of what should they comp on, the big number or the smaller number, and other thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I've lived all sides of this my career. I worked at a company where really they only had to hit, I worked at a giant company where only 18% of the reps actually had to hit for the company to achieve.
What?
Which is
Wow.
insane.
That's
Right.
Nuts.
wild.
I've never heard that before. That's nuts.
I think it really depends on size of company and understanding of the opportunity, right? When you're really little and just trying to go out and get go to market fit, at the end of the day, it doesn't always matter, honestly, what the quotas are. You're almost like just trying to figure it out. In my early days at Clari, we really were transparent. We would actually show the company target to all employees, and we didn't have overassign. It was much easier then in early days, and I joined pretty early, to figure that out. As you grow, you have to have levels of overassign between street and executive staff. Why? Because you're trying different things, right? Not every part of the go-to-market is dialed as tight as it can be, right? Once you found your go-to-market fit, and maybe it's within a certain vertical with a specific product, you can pretty much figure out your waterfall and how you're going to achieve quota for that rep. But maybe you're breaking into a new vertical. Maybe you've launched a new product. Maybe you're in a new region. And so it's really hard to get that right, dialed in the first time. And you also, when you have more segments and geographies and industries, you're affected by things that are happening outside of your control. Macroeconomic, global things, new competitors. So you got to kind of spread your bet a little bit. And so you start to think about different levels of overassign. And then good executive teams will always sign up for a stretch goal. Right? Because you're always trying to push, can you get more growth? And so I guess my answer is it depends on size of company and complexity of your go-to-market and your segments.
The point you made about the experiments, I think, is underappreciated in the market, that you have to experiment to find new channels of growth, right? So that you can continue on this trajectory that all the employees are excited to be part of, because you join a startup because you'll have accelerated upward mobility if the company does well. So you need them to experiment and take these bets, but then you can't calculate every experiment to work. That would be almost, as a fiduciary, quite negligent. So Kevin, a follow-up to that, how do you communicate this at different stages, right? You kind of mentioned at the earlier stage, we were just showing everyone we have not one number, etc. Later on, when you do have this, how should an executive communicate this to the team?
I think it depends on the company culture. Look, I've been at Clari a really long time, 5.5 years, and we've been tremendously transparent. And I've built trust, not just as the leader, but built trust with the individuals in selling situations, right? And we also preach go to market, right? And so and you know, and the leaders at Clari, we try to be as transparent as we can so that our reps really understand, you know, the job of creating a go-to-market and driving and running, because they're the teachers of our customers. So transparency has been important for me. And so, yeah, there's a level of over-assigned that happens at different levels. The managers know what theirs is versus their manager versus the rep.
Smart. AJ, let's get tactical with it. What do you think this person should do for the particular comp plan? Comp it on the 9 or the 6.3 for their leader. Let's say the VP of sales and a CRO, right? That's what it sounds like a little bit in the question. So what should the CRO get comped on? What should the VP of sales get comped on?
I don't get to just say I agree with Kevin and leave it at that. You're gonna make
AJ always tries to do that, so I have to like give him more questions.
I think the tactical answer to this is for this year. Here's first and foremost, it's really challenging for execs, for CEOs, for boards to truly understand in 2024 what a financial target looks like.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that that's true. And the way I would suggest is to break that up into chunks and really work to quarterly goals around that. I mean, even companies such as QuotaPath are going with quarterly financial target sign-offs because of that reason. I talked to a really large enablement company that saw 12% growth last year, and they're like, AJ, how are you thinking about the financial forecast? Like, we're doing quarterly. And like, oh, that's what we've tried to pitch to the board, but it feels like, oh. So, but if you're a sales leader, I think it's a little bit easier to do. So first and foremost, I would start there. Secondly, I do agree with Kevin where I hate these two different numbers and two different books that you live off of. Like, give the visibility to the reps and the teams and what they need to achieve. That said, very tactically, I'm going to pretend like this is a scaled team, and your reps have that, not part of that $9 million number. Your sales managers might have a 20% buffer and get comped full OTE off of 80%. And then you as a sales leader should get 70%, I would say is probably the right number there, which would get you close to that 6.3. But I do also absolutely love what Kevin said is good exec teams will always sign up for a stretch goal. That's 100%. So if you're not willing to sign up for some level of stretch, then you as a CEO have to be asking your CRO, what are you doing? Like, you're sandbagging. Like, you're not a rep. You're not an IC. You shouldn't be sandbagging.
Well, now I have a comp question. So how do you comp that? So if I sign up, I'm your CRO. AJ, you're lucky enough to have me as your CRO. Okay, so this is going to be a rocket ship. And now you said, hey, here's the stretch number. I'm like, I got this. What's my upside on this? So beyond my OTE, what do I get?
First and foremost, Asad, you said you would never hire me as a CRO, so I would never hire you as a CRO. You've said that previously, just for the record.
It is true.
The answer to that is I would highly recommend not doing one-to-one. Like, have a floor. That floor is usually 70%, because, like, look, if the company's doing worse than 70%, or if you're below that floor and that's where you all end, you got major problems as an organization, and like your comp should be the furthest thing from your mind. You're like, hey, is this still a solvable business in a quarter or 2 quarters? So have a floor. I really, just like reps and managers, advocate for strong acceleration and strong incentives. If
so
you do 100,
I should have an accelerator, right? Like,
if a CRO blows it out of the water and hits 150%, the first thing I'm doing is like, what the hell could you not, like, why couldn't you forecast correctly? Like, why were you not using why were you not using Clari at the beginning? And that's like a bad thing as well. It's like, I don't know whether to hug you or punch you right now.
Maybe NVIDIA needs to buy Clari right now, like as a tool, because they've been just like, they're like, we'll hit this, and we found 20 billion more in revenue.
Yeah. I don't think that. I think NVIDIA has the high-class problems of high-class problems right now. So yeah, I think that's my take, is that the incentives, like, really pushing and blowing it out of the water. I don't think any CEO is going to worry about the extra. I mean, it's going to be a big check to write, but if you're getting an even bigger check on that 150%, then it's fine. And the board will understand.
Like, before this conversation, I used to tilt towards the frustration of the rep side of things in terms of these overlays. But it's changed my mind a little bit. This was really helpful.
That's the whole point of this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
9
this is
minutes
all
and
for
50
me.
seconds. We did it, Kevin. We did it.
It took 8 minutes of two guys, and now I have a different point of view. This was really interesting, and that's the episode. Okay. That's it, right, AJ?